is your friendly neighborhood Galahound19 taking some DC characters and turning them into Spider-Verse variants. So let's go!
The Spider-Verse, a vast multitude of alternate universes containing their own variations of Spider-Men and women. Why, this is the kind of concept where both bizarre and outlandish slams your brain into a mind-melt sandwich with a tall glass of Kool-Aid to wash it down. So let's start with Earth M146. A world once ruled over by Zeus and his Greek pantheon of gods. Ever heard of when the petty goddess Athena cursed the once famous weaver Arachne after she had made a tapestry that depicted the gods as being petty? Where it didn't really help Athena's case, she destroyed the tapestry and transmogrified Arachne into a spider creature, condemning the poor artist to do nothing else but to weave her webs. But in this universe, Arachne had an idea. She made a bet with Hermes, the god of speed. If he could steal 2 pails of water from the river Styx and race them around the underworld without spilling a drop, Arachne would weave the world's biggest tapestry depicting all of Hermes' greatest feats. The enthusiastic god accepted the terms, then shortly afterwards had won the bet. But what Hermes didn't realize, that in each of those pails were nests of spiders, all under Arachne's control, and any creatures soaked in the river Styx become invulnerable. So while Arachne weaved this giant tapestry, she had sent her spiders to a band of 50 young widows who had come together after their husbands died in a so-called war for their gods. So each one of them had a deep-rooted hatred for the pantheon, and did not take much convincing. They allowed the spiders to bite them, and through the enchanted venom, they were granted immeasurable strength and halted aging. These women had titled themselves the Amazons. And when the giant tapestry was finally finished, it was rolled up and taken to the Pantheon. But when Hermes went to unfold it, he found all 50 Amazons had been hiding inside. They ambushed the Pantheon. The gods fought back, and for 3 whole days they battled. And where the Amazons had their strength enhanced, that did not make them immune to fatigue. They were eventually defeated. Zeus had executed Arachne and banished her Amazons to a deserted island. And over the generations, each time they tried to escape, or whenever a ship sailed too close, Zeus would summon a massive storm, keeping the Amazons separated from the rest of the world. But what Zeus didn't know upon banishing the Amazons was that one of them was pregnant and had given birth on the island to a girl named Petra, and she was trained at a young age to be one of their greatest warriors. And on her 21st birthday, they carried out a reckless plan. The 50 Amazons gathered together and set fire to a statue of Zeus, getting the thunder god's full attention, while Petra made her escape by boat. Where all other Amazons had failed, Zeus had never known of Petra's existence, so she had managed to slip past his watch. The Amazons had given her a mission to travel, learn, and assemble a force strong enough to defeat Zeus and free her people once and for all. But what they didn't take into account was the fast lane lifestyle of the 20th century. The advancement of technology and crazes of social media was overwhelming at first, but Petra had a mission, and so she fashioned the flashiest costume she could to infiltrate their society as a crime-fighting superhero known as Wonder Weaver. Now that is some fancy genre of a universe right there. I think I'll follow it up with a bit of sci-fi, such as Earth K26. Our variant right here is Victor Parker, and he had a rough start, lost both parents at a young age, and with no other family, he fell into the foster system. And yet, despite the hardships, Victor was a boy prodigy. In middle school, he was smarter than most teachers, and in gym class, he was fitter than most students, earning him all sorts of trophies and recognition. At his last year before high school, he was adopted by Norman Stoneborn, the CEO of Sterling Enterprise, the country's leading genetics lab. Adopted by someone rich and famous. A dream come true, you would think. But Victor soon realized that underneath Norman's calm exterior, he was a crazy goal-driven helicopter dad. He started by putting Victor in numerous after-school activities, more than the young prodigy could handle. Whenever he failed, Norman would give him a long-winded lecture. But whenever he succeeded, the man would barely say 2 words to him before setting up the next goal. I guess that's what prompted Victor to do what he did. After your near world-ending battle with the Avenging League and Brainiactus, a piece of damaged tech of possible alien origin was salvaged and brought straight to Sterling Labs. Now, a team of scientists were meant to examine it, but before they could come together, Victor went and snuck into the lab to examine the tech himself. I can only guess that it was a mixture of curiosity and wanting to show up that uptight old man of his. But then, that piece of alien tech transformed into a 5-foot spider-like robot. It leapt onto Victor and plunged one of its metal claws into his side, injecting him with a techno-organic virus. This thing was a herald drone. It seeks out suitable candidates to recruit/brainwash/cyborgify into serving Brainiactus. And, well, skipping the messy details, it was turning young Victor into a cyborg. And by the time Norman and his security staff came and stopped that metal monster, Victor's body had become 80% mechanical. A little over a year later, when Victor had enough control of his new body, he decided he had enough of Norman. He left home to become a street-level superhero, but that was less of a doing the right thing and more of taking out his frustrations on the criminal scumbags. But that was until he bumped into the hero team, the Titan Defenders. They're all a bunch of newcomers like himself, but their leader, Devil Wing, wanted to take Victor under his, well, wing. Now, Victor had all sorts of reasons to say no, but his gut told him to say yes. Now, Victor trained with them for a few weeks and thought they were all a bunch of goofballs, but he found himself improving far better than before. He'd even discovered he could shoot plasma webs and convert his arm into a sonic cannon thing. When he tried hanging out with the team more socially, he realized they were all supportive people who celebrate his victories and gives him a pat on the back when he fails. With their help, Victor became a calmer and happier person and became a far better crime fighter. He became the Mecha Spider. Now it's Earth 1490. Before I get into this universe, I must make one thing clear. We're the wisecracking, web-swinging weirdos are in a seemingly endless supply. There have been a few bad apples in the batch, and this one here, he's a right old turd floating in the cider keg. Arthur Peterson. He grew up in a rundown version of New York City, where beatings and muggings were just your typical work days. Now, Arthur was this skinny kid with a nervous stutter that sounded like a cackle, but outwitting your typical street thugs was mere child's play for him. He was clever, a math whiz, a genius with electronics. Now, he could have gone places, done great things. But This variant never had an Aunt May for guidance, or an Iron Man to look up to, so Arthur went with a bad crowd, a crime cartel ran by a ruthless man who called himself Uncle Benny. And under his influence, Arthur developed gadgets that made pickpocketing and lockpicking easy as pie. And speaking of pie, I could go for some. I need to wrap this up. Now, one night, Uncle Benny brought Arthur along with the rest of the crew as they were dealing with an imposing crime family, where Arthur was on the sidelines for most of it. He was given a handgun and was told not to let anyone get past him. But during that night, only one person came his way, a young but timid man, no older than him, with a spider tattoo along his neck. He looked frail and had no weapon. Now, Arthur couldn't see the harm in it, so decided to take pity on the guy and let him go. An act of kindness, but one that did not pay off, I'm afraid. 3 days later, that same guy with the spider tattoo somehow snuck into Uncle Benny's hideout and killed him. He then stole Benny's car to make a quick getaway. Arthur, while under a blind rage, hopped into his car and went after him, but then realized he wasn't Vin Diesel and accidentally drove into the other guy's car, crashing them both into a tanker truck. Neck tattoo spider guy died instantly. As for Arthur, he got pinned under a heap of metal, and then the tanker burst, spilling searing chemicals all over him, bleaching his skin and warping his personality. From that day, he became known as the Spider Gesture, the most vicious crime boss the city has ever known. His subordinates are outfitted with web shooters, acid spray guns, and all sorts of crazy dangerous contraptions, committing some of the biggest crimes, from vandalizing the Statue of Liberty to going head-to-head with the Avenging League.
Now, I had a bunch of fun with this video and this new narrator. And if you want more of both, then suggest whatever character/genre you want to see as a multiversal wall crawler. And did you know, hitting the like and subscribe buttons is free cardio for your fingers. Now, if you want more superhero stuff, I got my playlist right here. Or there's also my Pokemon as Chimeras video right here.
And for our next video is the long-awaited character reveal of me, Francis Freelock.
Yeah, I was getting to that. Now get out of here.